What up? It's Fess. We're still at Fess for Superbooth 2024, day 2. Let's start with W Hall. Let's check out Arturia, Polyend, Modbap. There's a bunch of stuff. Let's go see it. Yo, so we're here at Polyend. We got Mitch from Polyend. What's happening, dude? It's good to see you over here.
Good to see you.
Tracker Plus. What is new? Let's
yeah.
So
there's a lot of improvements with it. It's got the same kind of outer shell, but inside it's completely different. And so we've been able to add a lot of upgrades. It has the USB audio, so it has 14 tracks of stereo USB audio, which also has stereo sample playback. It has USB mass storage, so you can just plug that in without ever having to take your SD card out of the tracker. It has new synth engines, and then it has the 4 synth engines that you saw originally in the Play Plus, and a new drum synth engine called Perk. And it has 8 new tracks, so 16 tracks total, 8 additional MIDI or synth-based tracks that you can sequence.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yo, I want to hear this drum synth. This is new, right? Perk?
Yeah. This is the Perk drum.
Get a load of this.
And it's this is just one patch, so I can load all kinds of different presets. There's like a variety of kind of sound design options in here that I can change. I can just pick a patch, and then I can go edit the patch, and there's all these different parameters I can change inside the patch. So I could get like glitchy things. I could get 909s without.
And of course, adjust everything per step.
Yeah, so it does so the drum machines are kind of set up like you have a kick first, a kick, a snare, open and close hi-hats, cymbals, and then a perk that can be like a cowbell, a shaker, all kinds of different things. And then everything outside of that is like a pitch tom. And all these can be modulated via 6 multi-macros. If I go into the synth engine, I can assign these to any parameter on all these different engines.
Sick.
Can be, yeah, so you get 5 macros per multi-macro. So for example, I can modulate like the kick body decay, the snare, 5 different things at once. And I can do it here on this screen. So like, I'll just show you, I'll play that sequence back. And I can sequence all that stuff too, but I'll load a different patch real quick. Maybe I want something, I'll try this one. And then I'll quickly just like add some modulation to it. And I could do that in another track too, so.
And muted and whatnot.
Yeah, so like I don't have to have, the cool thing about the synth engines are like, I don't have to have, a note playing to like modulate these macros. So I'm gonna put the step jump at 1 and kind of just, I'm gonna add some random, I don't know, just modulation. And like, for a couple of these macros and see, see what happens. I need to. I kind of.
Of course, just straight tracker style. I mean.
And then yeah.
It's sick, man. It's definitely the Tracker Plus, for sure.
Yeah.
Stereo sample is a big upgrade as well.
Yeah, it's really nice. And like, one other thing I just want to show you is maybe like, I can resample all of this.
Oh.
Like I can resample the synths. So if I just select them and render and load, I can export that and then load it into my sample. Now it's here.
It's moving a lot faster too.
Yeah, it's definitely faster. So I can play that back, but then I could like slice it or I could beat slice it. And then I can, you know, now I have that in my sample pool and I can play that back as a sample. And I could go to like a new pattern and just, that's gonna sound crazy, but you know.
Right.
I don't know.
As a different variation. Yeah, no, man, it's yeah, I like it. It's certainly a plus. It's certainly a Mark II.
Yeah.
You just surprised everybody with this. What is this?
This is the Polyend Press. It's not out yet, but it's we're showing a preview of it. It is a stereo all analog compressor with stereo sidechain through. It's kind of inspired by like classic rack units with like the things we wanted and felt like we needed in like a portable pedal that we can play live or put at the end of your chain for like any kind of hardware setup. And so it's interesting because I'll just play like maybe some synths. Oh, I totally screwed up my pattern. Okay, I'll play that. So like it has high pass and low pass filters, so I can high pass it and then I'm just mostly compressing the drums there. And I could use it as a bandpass too, where I have that high pass and then, you know, really sculpt it where I only compress exactly what I want to compress. There, and now it's doing this. Now it's open. You could even take it all out. Like I can filter out everything, but I don't know why you want to. But yeah, so yeah, and it has all the controls you would expect in a compressor and like a one knob per function kind of box. Yeah.
All right, well, it's a prototype, but now I gotta know projected availability later this year, hopefully?
Yeah, it'll come this year, probably fall.
Tight.
For sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm Fess, that's Mitch, this is Polyend.
Thanks a lot,
some more stuff. Yo, it's Fess with the legend himself, DivKid. Likewise, man. So, like you always do, you are the man with crazy collaborations. You have a new collaboration with Apollo View, right?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Let's just jump into it. What is this thing?
Yeah, so Manic, 8 HP, we're kind of calling it VCAs with superpowers. Those superpowers being the VCAs, well, very simple up front. You have your input level, modulation level, and an output. But you can flick them into being bipolar, where they become ring modulators, meaning you can invert a wave with an input against another one. But then they feed these shape outputs, which really is the kind of secret sauce. That is 2 different types of clipping, soft clipping and hard clipping, and then 2 different types of wave folding. We've added some normalizations for inputs and modulation. So what we've got here, which we'll get into in a second, a single oscillator, square wave and a sine wave. We can ring modulate them on both sides, so it becomes stereo. And I'm kind of looking at it in this patch. One of my favorite uses is to use Manic as a kind of universal expander for any oscillator. Stereo movement, open things up, really musical, with just loads and loads of tonal kind of flexibility.
As usual, quite useful. And
yeah, for CV as well, which we maybe won't get into here, but the clippers, like the soft clip's really good for a drum bus, the hard clip's really good on a bass line. The kind of patch potential's endless, really. So like default state is just fading the sound in and out. As I start to modulate a sine wave with a sub. So that's ring modulating a sine wave with a sub to create a stereo image. If I flick on an arpeggiator, just get things a little bit more musical. Again, so that's a ring mod. We can then add some clipping on each side. We can change those to wave folders. So again, sine wave at the input. This is like a manual folder mount. So then let's ring mod that with the subwave. So again, it's just a sine wave and a square from the same oscillator. If you've got two oscillators, so two sine waves, say. I mean, if you kind of list the things out, you've got two VCAs, you've got two ring modulators, two different types of folder, two different types of clipper, an inverter, a voltage source, some multiples. When I tried to module it out, I mean, if you're using DOT for, it's like that much of DOT for gearing, and that stuff's all active at the time. You're not, this isn't a digital module where the switch is just changing a behavior. Like, that folder is there ready to switch into. It's all just, it's all there.
What up? It's Fess and Sebastian at Arturia with the Polybrute 12.
Yeah.
Man, tell me about this amazing looking
Of course.
beast.
Polybrute 12. It's a new edition of the Polybrute. If you don't know about it, look it up. It's a beautiful instrument, very powerful, polyphonic analog synth. Now, Polybrute 12 adds two things. It adds 12 voices instead of 6, doubling it, which is great for like long pads where the voices don't get stolen as you play, as you add more notes, like long evolving pads. You don't feel the voice limitation as much. So that's great for that. Bigger unisons, bigger layers of sounds because it's a bitimbral instrument. So that's 12 voices. That's a huge benefit, of course, in its own right. The second thing is having a new MPE capable, like it's a custom design that we made to have, polyphonic aftertouch, but it actually does a lot more than that. It does something that we call full touch, where basically we know the position of the key across the entire key span, and we can do things like this. We can do things like slightly tapping the keys, which already gives me something, give me a sound, and then I have the entire key to do some movement. So it's right at the top. You're gonna be tapping the keys, and then you have motion. Try with this patch, for instance, like this. This, it controls like the rate of this movement. And I have so much accuracy for each of the voice to do this. And of course it's polyphonic, so I can emphasize one of the notes on this one. And all the way to the top, Still have some sound, and then it stops. Much more quiet patch. Very static, like cinematic sound. So first half is just opening the filter. And then I have more dramatic movement at the bottom. And I can really choose between these two sections, a first section and a second one at the bottom. And the user can do whatever they want, but the most natural thing is like opening the sound like this at the beginning, and then having something more dramatic at the bottom. And of course, polyphonic, so. And also, another gesture, if the camera is here, is that tapping the key. So if I play softly like this, I get this like slow legato sound, but if I start to tap the key, it goes into a more staccato playing. And I can kind of alternate between these two naturally, just based on how I play. Go check it out, test it.
Yeah, it's really impressive stuff. We're at Modbap Superbooth 2024. What's good, man?
What's up, bro? Good to see you.
Likewise, man. What do you got new over here?
We got colors. So colors is kind of like the big brother of hue. Hue is a mono audio processor, color processor, hence the word hue, but colors is the stereo in, stereo out version. And so it's really good for like end of chain, color box kind of deal, right? End of chain channel processor, right? Channel mixer sort of. So what you have here is you have a performance sort of DJ filter with low pass and high pass. I'm just gonna juice this up a little bit so we can hear it. And then so you have the low pass and the high pass. Then you have the drive, tape saturation. And the compressor. The compressor has a ducking input, but it also has 3 settings of ratio. So you can go light, medium, heavy. Then that kind of gives you a whole nother flavor of compression, right? But then you have this tape saturation and the drive, and you have your lo-fi settings. So then you have the width. You can kind of spread through the stereo field and add some tape artifacts. Like
I was wondering what the artifacts was about.
yeah, it's tape artifacts like tape hiss, tape dropouts, and that sort of thing. So we'll kind of
Extra
boost that
texture.
out, that extra texture and stuff. And then when you're compressing that, it's bringing it all up. And so you can dial in the lo-fi really heavy. Or one thing that I like to do with modulation is I'll throw that in the lo-fi and I'll send it really fast modulation. So now you're getting it almost like it's coming through a transistor radio, but it's not losing any of the bottom. You know what I mean? Because you're modulating the lo-fi stuff, and then you still get the filter in. And you have resonance control. So yeah, and I mean you can really get some really interesting textures and stuff out of it.
I mean, this is more than a big brother to Hugh. It's more like a father to Hugh.
Yeah, it really is true. It's available for pre-order now. It'll be shipping in June.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yo, what up? It's Fess and Orpheus and the Dreadbox. How you doing, man?
I'm good, doing fine. How
Yeah,
are you?
man.
But you?
Good. I saw you guys release this last week. I'm so
Yep.
excited to see it in person. It looks incredible. Tell me about it.
So this is the third version of Murmux, and probably the last. The main difference for the old ones is that this one is polyphonic.
Okay.
We have 8 voice polyphony. Each voice consists of 2 oscillators with wave shaping. Have a main mixer to control the waves and the oscillators and noise. You have modulation, separate modulation for each oscillator. You can get like LFO or envelope. Have a master detune, which will detune the oscillators between them or the voices when you set it in unison. You have the master glide, and then you have the filter. Of course, everything I'm saying is polyphonic. So you have the low pass filter, which is the resonant one with tracking, and the tracking is tuned, so you can play it normally as an oscillator, sine wave oscillator. Have an envelope, the envelope amount. You have LFO. The LFO is polyphonic. I'll talk about it later. Have a bass boost or bass cut, so it works like a high pass on one side and bass boost on the other.
Nice.
And you have the FM, which is either noise or VCO2 going to the filter. Have some effects. The one is a BBD, which is here you have the amount control, and then you have the one side which is the resonator, so it can create some nice static resonating sound. And on the other side you have the ensemble, which will create some chorus ensemble kind of sound, so modulated. Then you have the delay, which is the classic delay we use in Erebus. So mix, time, feedback, nothing special there, but very good sounding. So the envelopes. This envelope is the master envelope for the filter, but is applied also to the pitch of the oscillators. Then you have the VCA envelope. Lastly, polyphonic LFO.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Let's just jump right
The
into it.
polyphonic LFO is one LFO for each voice. You have the same control for all of them, but you have a detune and tracking. You have waves, you have fade in and fade out. Both LFOs can be either free running, key sync, BPM, or BPM and key sync. LFO-B is not assigned anywhere, but can be assigned everywhere. So you just press the button and move and say like, okay, I need 50% plus or 70% minus. And you can do that on any parameter, and you're just like pressing it down and clear and it's clear from anywhere. Let's do some ARP. They have some very nice snappy envelopes. Your delay.
Can we go negative on that envelope a little bit? Yeah.
You get your chorus here.
What up? It's Fess at Superbooth 2024 with Dan from 4MS. What's up, man?
How you doing?
Dude, so I've been hearing about this since KnobCon. It's here.
Yep, so this is the Meta Module. We have it here. We're finally announcing everything you always wanted to know about it. It is a module that plays virtual software patches on physical hardware in the Eurorack format. So you get real knobs, real jacks, audio, CV, with the same flexibility and expandability that you have with software. So for instance, in software, you can make a patch, you can just save it, go to someone else, come back the next day, you open your saved file, it's right where you left it. You can, in software, you can add multiple modules. Oh, I have an LFO, actually I want 3. Click, click, click. You can do that here. But you don't have to be limited by like mouse, having the computer, having the laptop, USB connections, all these things. You're doing it on real actual hardware with jacks, cables, knobs, buttons, and things. So we kind of combining both worlds. The way this works is we have over 160 modules built in. So it's all the 4MS stuff, and we have a bunch of new modules you've never seen that are some utilities. We have a bunch of other brands and clones of things that are open source. I'm scrolling through all these mutable instruments clones we've made. We also have like Bafaco put all their VCV rack modules on here too. We have Hetric CV, nonlinear circuits. Nano Modular is available as a plugin.
Once you own one, are you able to upload any other module from VCV as long as it's that format?
As long as it's been converted to Meta Module format, yeah.
Okay,
so we have a free SDK. So if you're a developer, you know what that is, and it lets you recompile your plugin for Meta Module. So right now, like if you are on VCV Rack and you get a plugin, you have to pick like Mac, Windows, Linux, right? Depending on what you're running. Well, you'd also be able to pick Meta Module, and that would be this.
It's impressive, man. I say it's the future, but the future is already here. Incredible work. It's Fess and George at UDO Audio.
Hi, good to see you.
Likewise.
We've got the Super 8, which is our new keyboard, which is the sort of the middle of the range model between the Super 6 and the Gemini. We've got the Super 8, which is a kind of bigger Super 6, basically. 16 voices, splits and layers, lovely poly aftertouch quality keybed in a more compact, portable, sort of practical package than the Gemini, which is obviously got the ribbon strip and the extra controls, but is a very large, deep instrument. And so yeah, it's a bit cheaper than Gemini, but packs most of the punch.
Yeah, it's pretty clever.
Nice little trickery. I've lost all my pedals, but you've got nice delay freeze functions, just like the Super 6 actually in the Gemini. So you can hold something while you echo over the top.
Here's the $1 million question. expect Super 8 in desktop form. To be continued.
To be continued.
What up? It's Fess and Mateus with Reason. What's up, man?
Hey, man.
Haven't seen you since last year.
Yep, but this is the best time of the year to meet.
I know, right? So, Reason 13.
Yes, sir.
13 versions in 30 years. What's new? Let's just jump right in.
Well, it's a lot of stuff, so we might be here a while, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
So let's check out some of the new devices first. So we have 5 new devices, but let's start with a new synth. So you might go, Reason has a lot of synths, and we agree. But we were looking, how do we make people, give them the power to work faster? And workflow is everywhere, right? So workflow's in the rack too. So we created Polytone as kind of the go-to analog polysynth, so that you could very quickly get those really classic sounds, right? It's a pretty common thing. You have saw, pulse, triangle, sine, and so on. You have 2 oscillators, so it's very easy to just do a classic, saw, pulse, mix into, premium filter, all that stuff. But then when we had the kind of basic layout done, that was very straightforward, we started adding both kind of smart workflow things and our favorite bonus features. So for example, modulation, there's no modulation matrix, just to keep it simple. So if I want to modulate pitch here to left is the LFO and to the right is the modulation envelope. It's really easy to dial in quickly, right? We also added some kind of funky stuff. So for example, the filter has a filter FM, can be really kind of fun to make weird sounds with. And we also wanted to make it more old school, so in a lot of ways we added old features. For example, when we did stereo spread, we didn't want to do big unison chorus because that sounds quite fluffy. So we did a really traditional every other voice, right? But when you play chords, it's really big.
Yes.
We also added an age knob. It goes from 2024, that's right now, all the way back to 1970. To get the detuned kind of shifty sound. But then, we were happy with it, but it was maybe not exciting enough, so we added just another one. Ooh. So it's a dual layer synth. So in the second layer I can set up a completely different sound, so I can do maybe sine wave here. I'm gonna use this really weird new waveform we have on oscillator 2 called Chaos. Chaos is basically, it's like weird chaotic noise. It's really fun for FM. So if I have the sine wave, I can add a nice little noisy overtone. It sounds super, super sweet. And I can maybe high pass this instead of low pass. And this filter actually sweeps completely from low pass to high pass. And you might go, why does it sweep? What's the point of that? Well, with 2 layers, you can play them one at a time, or you can mix between them. So here I'm mixing A and B. But you can also morph. Now I'm morphing between A and B, so I can take a chord.
Yeah, that's sick.
And you can do that with the fader, the mod wheel, even with velocity, global LFO. You can create these really cool patches. The new browser is basically a way for us to index everything, because Reason comes with 50,000 patches and sounds. Is so much, and they're all hidden away in folders in the factory sound bank and other sound banks. Well, we've categorized and tagged every single patch, right? So if I just want to check out synths, just click synths, and it doesn't matter which synth did it. And if I want polysynth that are analog, you can see these are all added up here in text field like filters.
I also heard there were some changes in the sequencer.
Yes, so let's go down to this track I have here and I'll show you a little bit. So as you can see, the entire interface is redesigned. So we have new colors, new dividers, new icons and stuff. And I have this little song here. Good way to show it off. So the basic idea is basically splitting the arrangement view. So if you want to edit something, it opens up right in the arrangement view, and you can resize this however you want, right?
Perfect.
And it always fits the entire clip. So if I double click on a clip, it fits that clip. Simple. If I single click, it maintains the same zoom level, right? So you never get lost. You choose, do I want to see just the clip, or do I want to stay at the same zoom level? We've also done improvements to what you can actually do here. For example, we moved everything from the tool window here. So if I choose You know, I have the length right here, and underneath all of these, there's also additional things. So velocity, I can scale that down, randomize.
Yes.
And a new one, make a little ramp.
Oh, yes.
It's super useful,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
So it has all these edit features. We also spent a lot of time, more than I care to admit, to clean up all the context menus. So now, you know, all the selection tools, select all notes the same pitch, are underneath one heading. You can do, you know, transposing here too, and then you get a nice little window that says, yeah, fair enough, one octave up, one octave down. You can always reach the tools much easier than you could before. Everything we've added in Reason 13 is about workflow. I think maybe with the exception of Ripley space delay.
Oh.
So this delay is kind of, it's a delay design playground. We looked at a lot of different delays, pedals, VST, stuff we like, and we kind of boiled it down to, okay, which are the parameters you want to use to create that kind of sound you want, right? If it's a certain character, or it should sound tapey, or it should sound digital. Play on top of it. You can also use this multiply to take whatever's in delay time and double or half the buffer size. And this can be modulated. That's really, really fun.
I'm excited. Put me down for beta, please.
Sure.
Yo, it's Fess and Zoe with ALM. What is up? So nice to see you. Y'all know this is my good friend from Chicago. You're one of the first people to sell me ALM, and now you're with this wonderful brand. This is quite the surprise. What is this?
This is our new pedal version of the MFX. So the MFX is our multi-effects module we've had for a couple of years now. And yeah, we've moved it into pedal form. And so it works with all your standalone gear now, like the Synth here or guitars. It has like a gain stage for guitar and other things like that. Stereo in and out. It has MIDI at the top. And it's got expression in so that you can route a foot pedal or an LFO. So yeah, we've got 18 different effects programs here. So there's delays, reverbs if you go further in. You get some distortion, compression, bit corruptor's a glitch, panner, ring mod, ensemble, resonator. There's loads of different things. But each one it has a lot of character. What takes it further is you have full control over everything. So it's very modular still, even in pedal form. So these A and B knobs up here, you can assign to things. Yeah, so if I just want to have a delay time control, I can really easily do that. And now, yeah, I've assigned delay to the A knob, and you could assign that A knob to like anything you want. So I could assign to this bandwidth control here too. So you can very quickly get some performance elements in here. The other thing though is you can assign modulation just like a modular. So we have this expression pedal here, so if we go further than B, we can hit expression, and then we can turn on this little LFO pedal here, and we can see it's jumping up and down. So
That's a pretty sweet touch.
Yeah, if I can work the thing. But yeah, if you go further than that too, you can do MIDI CCs, so MIDI CC 1 through 4. So we actually forgot our MIDI cable, but if you have an Electron box or a sequencer of any kind or your DAW, you can plug MIDI out and you can sequence any of the parameters or modulate them. And you can clock sync all of the delays and things like that. So yeah, you can integrate it really nicely into your setup if you want to.
ALM Busy Circuits, the new MFX pedal. Is this available now?
Available now. It was released 2 days ago, so buy it now.
We just wrapped up day 2 at Superbooth 2024. We saw lots of amazing gear. What did you all like? Definitely drop a comment below. Let us know what you're excited about. I'm gonna go see some more gear. Peace.